In today's video, we have a lot to discuss. Tons of news came out for Bitcoin, companies continuing to adopt Bitcoin, but the overall volume for the Bitcoin spot ETFs and Ethereum spot ETFs is much lower than anticipated. In today's video, we'll be going over these exact stats, and we'll also be taking a look at the Bitcoin price action, looking at some key levels that you need to pay attention to if you're trading this market. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. Kicking us off, first of all, with GameStop. It just came out yesterday that they will be adding Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, following a lot of companies. Now, the important thing to consider here is that GameStop are currently holding $4.75 billion in cash. So if they were to start accumulating Bitcoin at these levels, you can imagine the kind of FOMO that would be coming. Now, since this news came out, we can see that the pre-market price of GameStop is up 16% today. This shows how adopting Bitcoin can significantly impact a company's stock price, as we saw with MicroStrategy earlier in the year. Now, some more news that came out that I thought was extremely interesting is that over half of the US states introduced Bitcoin reserve bills. Over half, and most of them are proposing to invest 10% of their state funds. Billions are going to flow into Bitcoin, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's why, despite the bearish nature of my videos over the past couple months, I'm still very much long-term bullish on Bitcoin. As we can see the list here from Alabama all the way down to Wyoming, a massive list of US states looking to adopt Bitcoin as a reserve. Now, in terms of the US, we also got some news that came out discussing the fact that the SEC Crypto Task Force will host 4 more roundtables between April and June. Now, I put out this tweet saying that they were potentially some more nothing burgers because most of these events thus far, we saw some price action pumping into the event, and then we would dump immediately after the event because crypto investors are extremely impatient, and I'm not sure what everyone was expecting. The meeting on April 11th will be about tailoring regulation for crypto trading. Then on April 25th, the key considerations for crypto custody. On May 12th, it'll talk about where traditional finance and decentralized finance meet. And then the last one on June 6th, DeFi and the American spirit. Whatever that means, but I would be expecting this to play over again and again, pumps into these events, and then some minor dumps afterwards, depending on where the price of Bitcoin is at these dates. Now, if you've been paying attention to the news, the talk of the town is stablecoins, surprisingly enough. We know that Trump really wants to place an emphasis on the US dollar and only increase its dominance in overall global trade. But what we can see here is that USDC, the stablecoin of Circle, just hit a new all-time high for market cap, surpassing $60 billion today. All while, as we discussed in yesterday's video, Trump is going ahead and launching his own stablecoin through World Liberty Financial. And then another competitor to the stablecoin space, $6 trillion asset manager Fidelity, will be launching their own stablecoin as well. This space is really heating up. Overall, I do think it's net positive for the US because these stablecoins are based on the dollar, but this is very interesting to see people competing for this space. And only time will tell. But can we see perhaps that Tether will start to lose its dominance? Will USDC start to lose its dominance because of these other stablecoins? We're not sure yet, but the reality is more stablecoin competition is net positive for the industry. Okay, so now that we discussed those quick news pieces, let's touch on the Bitcoin chart and see where we're at. So we can see that yesterday it was a little bit of an uncertain candle for Bitcoin. Red overall, but wicking in both directions, marking quite a bit of uncertainty. We're at a very important level, as we've been discussing, this orange zone, which was the level that we held as support before we started to establish our higher range. Now, at this level, what we want to see here is hold it as support. I've been discussing with a lot of traders what they think could potentially happen here, and it's starting to look like we are really holding this level as support. If this continues, as I mentioned, I would be targeting this range right below $92,000, give or take a few $1,000s, but this would be the next resistance level that you need to pay attention to. So if this holds, a long is still perfectly valid in my honest opinion. And that reminds me, if you want to trade cryptocurrencies, make sure to click the first link in my description down below. It brings you directly to Weeks, where you can earn a 50% deposit bonus. That means that if you deposit $2,000 into your account, you can get $1,000 back for trading purposes. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. And if Weeks doesn't necessarily work for you, you have the second link in my description down below. It brings you directly to BitFi, which is another solid exchange that I've been using over the past few months. All you need, once again, is an email and a password to sign up. Make sure to join me because this one also gives you a 15% cashback on your deposits. So let's see if we can hold this level over here and execute that nice trade to the upside. Maybe this will act as resistance, and honestly, I would be betting that it will act as resistance, because one of the things that people aren't necessarily talking about is that, one, we are still very much in a longer term downtrend. As we can see from the high $109,000, we came all the way down to right below $77,000. Now, this is a bounce for ants, in my honest opinion. It's not quite time to get excited despite all of the bullish news in the space. If we reclaim this level and it doesn't act as resistance, that would be positive, and then we're back in the range, and I would be targeting a new all-time high for Bitcoin at that point in time. But until then, still operate with a little bit of caution, because a lot of influencers are telling you that the reversal is here and we're just going to pump and put in a new all-time high. Just trade level by level and remember the original range. Don't get caught out here. One of the key reasons why I think that 91.8K could act as resistance and significant resistance for Bitcoin, because one, it acted as support several times when we're in this range. And so if it was support for a very long period of time, it will likely be strong resistance as well. That's just the rules of trading. But if we take a look at the Bitcoin spot ETFs, what you can notice here is that, yes, we are seeing some inflows, but they are nowhere near the significant inflows that we saw since the inception. I mean, I remember there was a time where we were seeing billions of dollars of inflows per day. Maybe we're gradually building back up, but if I'm being honest, it's looking like we're actually trending downwards here. So you do need to pay attention to this. The other thing is the Ethereum spot ETF. What do you see here? Another negative day yesterday. I know it was only $3 million, but overall we've had so many negative days in March and February, and so we're hoping for a reversal here, but the numbers don't lie. People are not buying the Ethereum spot ETF as everyone was expecting them to. But as you know by now, I like to wrap up my videos with a little bit of a more long-term perspective, and that perspective is that Bitcoin is now 1.3% of global money. And if you believe in Bitcoin like I do, this is extremely motivating and very positive. As we can see, hard money only occupies just under 17% of the global money, which includes Bitcoin and gold. Then we have fiat money, the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, others, British pounds, and the Chinese yuan. But Bitcoin has a lot of room to grow here, and that's what this chart is trying to portray to you. This is why I always say that while I'm trading the market on a daily basis, I'm also cashing in all of my profits into Bitcoin and stablecoins. Stablecoins in case we get a longer term correction, but Bitcoin for my long-term hodl bag. I have full conviction in Bitcoin that it will continue to grow and it will continue to eat up the global money. 1.3% at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if it occupies over 15% in a decade from now. And that sums up today's quick video. Very interesting to see that more and more companies are trying to launch their own stable coins to eat up at that stable coin market share. But ultimately, this is a positive thing for the space and of course for the US dollar. We're seeing that the ETF volume is getting lower and lower and lower as Bitcoin is at a crucial level. If we can hold the current level that we're at, we will be targeting around the 92K area, and that would probably act as significant resistance for Bitcoin. That sums up today's video. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.